All right, so we're at the stage now where we have our dados, our stock dados set in here for the legs to go into. These are our legs. They're 1.5 inches thick. They're going to go in just like so with a tenon on the on the end there. So a couple things I'm going to do. And by the way, Hebner, you asked me if I could have just made this the data, the width of the board here, 1.5 inches, and just put the whole thing in. You can do that. The more shoulders that you have on there and more of like a jigsaw piece that you have it, you're creating more surface area for the glue to be on, and also better ways to help it from shifting around. So it is a better idea to put the single tenon in here. And 3/4 of an inch is a good sized tenon that's in here. 1 inch would have been fine also, then have 2/4 inch shoulders, but we're good with what we have here. So I wanted to show you, I am a little bit of a marking gauge snob. Here's an old one that I bought. It's an old Stanley. It has 2 cutters on it, so I can do tenons. So I can mark up the outside here and mark where the 2 sides are, which I may do later on, but I'm not going to do it in this video here. I also have these, which are more up-to-date marking gauges. This one has 2 adjustments on it that you can see. So I can loosen those, and I can bring this anywhere away from it that I want it to be. And I can lock that back one, and then I can still be able to micro adjust the top. I don't know if you can see that. The top, this gap right here is getting larger and smaller, meaning that I'm able to micro adjust where I'm at here. So I'm going to lock both of them. So what I want to do now is I want to set it to the depth of the dado in here. And then I want to figure out which end of these legs is the uglier end. If there's a little chip out or something like that, that's the end that's going to get my tenon on it, because really there's no rhyme or reason for which end we're going to do here. So first thing I'll do is I'll loosen this up, and I'll let it drop down tight in there, and I'll lock that. Why is this a better method than simply going over and cutting it? Well, we're going to put a dado blade on this, and I don't want the dado blade to give me chip out on the edge of the cut there as I'm cutting across there. So what this does is it scores. I'll do this end here at the top here because there's a little bit of chip out. So it scores. By the way, when you buy the marking gauge like this was an expensive one. This is about a $100 marking gauge. This one here is a cheaper one from Veritas, about $35, but I really like them a lot. I also got some extra cutters on here that are sharp that help cut into the material. So for your end here, Lauren, that we're going to be doing, I'm just going to hold that along, and I'm going to drag that back. So that made a cut line into your board there. So the fibers or the grain on the edge here is already cut. So when I go to do my table saw cut on here, it's not going to pull fibers out past that. It's going to be dead on that line. And that's also where I'll set my fence up for my dado blade to make sure that I'm right on the line that I want to be on. I'm going to mark this top here. I'm going to mark the opposite face. And Carson, you were the one who asked about whether we're going to be going to the dado blade to cut these. We absolutely are. The other thing to point out here, I'll make the cut all the way around the sides. Okay? So that cut goes all the way around. That's just that one end that's going into it. We're going to put dados in here also for shelves that are going into this. But we're going to get the top and the legs all situated and ready to go first, so we can figure out where we're going to put those things. We have a drawing that Lauren gave us that we're going to work off of. So again, the marking gauge, the cut on here that I put on here, was done to help prevent fibers from lifting up when I'm going to do it on a table saw, and it's also for accuracy. It's going to be a very accurate way of doing this. The other thing that I can do now, when I do the table saw, I'm going to do the one side, and it's going to cut that piece out there. I'm going to flip it and do the other side also. When I do that, I got to make sure I have the weight down in case there's any kind of cupping at all to this board. It seems very flat, but that's one thing that I want to look at when I'm doing that. But that's gonna be the manner in which I do it. I'm gonna find center on the top here, center line, And to do that, this is 1.5 inches. So I'm going to set this at about the 3/4 spot, where it's going to be. I'll get a small ruler to approximate that. So I'm just going to set it up to it, set it close, lock it, and then I can adjust it exactly at 3/4. So now if I go ahead and I mark, I hold this to the face here, and I mark a little cut line there, then I flip it over so I'm now referencing the opposite face, and I go to the same spot and I make a little cut mark. If those cut marks are in the same line, and you can see my 2 cut marks are exactly the same, then I found dead center. So then if I just measure over with this groove that I put in here at 3/4, if I measure 1/2 3/4, which is 3/8, 1/2 3/4, 3/8 each side here, I can go ahead and I can give myself some pretty good ideas of where my blade height is going to have to come to, and I can get close to it and check for fit, and then just kind of take off a hair more as my last cut, so I can get it just right. So that's going to be my reference from where I'm starting up here. All right, guys, I hope everything's going well. This is not ideal, obviously. I'll probably say that every time because I think about it every time that I'm putting one of these videos together. But this is where we're at. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting these this week, and I'll fit those this week, and I'll also be working with Mitch's project where I'm going to be doing the opposite dovetail cut. I have the one cut already, which I'll show you, and I'll do the other one for you in a video.